Hello, it's Stephanie from Book Blurbs and Blahs. Welcome to my channel, and if you are new here, I talk about books, blurbs, and sometimes blahs, which is more about lifestyle and what's going on. As you can see outside, we actually got some snow today, which is fantastic. Kids are off school and it's a few days from Christmas and we get some snow. Exciting! Today's video is going to be about setting some reading and life 2021 goals. Let's hope it's much improved compared to 2020. First off, my first 2021 goal is to make more vlogs. I started back in 2018 and continued through part of 2019 and then just stopped altogether. No rhyme or reason, just life got really busy and I was struggling a bit with the TBRs, and then we decided to do a house move, and then we did homeschooling, and the list goes on. So this year, now we're more settled, I'm going to start creating more content, and my goal is to get 2 videos done per week. Something we have learned from the pandemic is we need to set financial goals, and I think that's really important for everybody. It's something I'm going to be teaching our kids to do, so they can save half of their money and then the other money they can spend on what they want when they need it, and set up and get ourselves set up so if anything else like this happens, we can take the strain and the pressure. One of the things I did in 2020 was I finally got back into my artwork and painting. I love to paint, and I actually entered at the very last minute a jewellery show which was local, and I actually got 2 of my 3 pieces entered into the show. And that was enough for me. I didn't win, but that was okay. I was so happy though that I was able to get into the show, and the fact that the jury were able to recognise my work. So hopefully next year I'm going to try and do more of that and try and get more sales in my paintings, which I haven't done in quite some time. As for my reading goals, I have got quite a few ideas going around. I'm not going to do all of them in this video. I don't have a huge amount of books on my shelf. I've got a few that I haven't read, and I'm going to try and read as many of those I can by the end of 2021. I think that's a really good goal to have right now. I've got a lot of classics on there, and I've got some books that are a few years old that I'd like to read. So some of those books I would like to read are get more into classics, which I've successfully done this year. I've managed to read a couple of Charles Dickens books, which surprisingly I found quite fun and entertaining to read. I've managed to read a Jane Austen book, which I've always struggled with Jane Austen books and never managed to complete a book, but I managed to do that one this year, so I'm hoping to read more, and I'm going to go through those in a minute. And it's my dog in the background shaking, and the dishwasher going. Anyway, that's life, isn't it? That's the blahs part of the show. And try and read things out of my comfort zone as well. And I'd like to get into some books that are new for 2021. I haven't checked out the list yet. There's quite a few from 2020 that I still want to read and purchase, but we'll get to that at some point. I'm not going to be in any rush purchasing and doing lots of book hauls. I just don't want to do that because I've got plenty on my shelf right now. But I will pick up things as I deem fit for reading when I'm ready. As I mentioned before, I do like painting and I like art, and once upon a time I studied art history, not any great length, but I have been learning more about art history, and my favourite artist this year, it's one of the things that I was able to do during the pandemic, was I actually used that time to learn about new topics and new artists. So I might even do a course in art history. I'm thinking about doing that with Sotheby's. They've got an online course that looks really interesting. There's some books that I'm really interested to. So I might purchase some art history books. Some of my favourite artists are David Hockney, Matisse, Sargent. And I'd also like to learn about women's art. I recently did some studying on the women in the Renaissance period. So things like that, I think that would be quite interesting. My other goals is to complete a series. And one of those series is, I think it's quite appropriate for this time of year, is the Mirror series. This is the first book, A Winter's Promise, and I've seen this going around BookTube a lot, but I haven't heard many of the BookTubers reading it. I've read this one, I really enjoyed it. It's a fantasy book. It's about worlds, it's political, it's really an intriguing book to read. It is written by a French author. This is translated to English, and I gotta say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. When I had this book, the second one had not been translated and wasn't available for purchase. But I got that this year along with book 3. This is the second one of the series, and this is some of the foils come off of this, which is a bit annoying. Right, this one I have read, and I'm now onto the third book, and I'll review this at some point. But I have been enjoying this series. This is the third one, and this is The Memory of Babel, and yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. I know there's a fourth book that's out now as well, so I think what I'll do is I'll read this and then I'll see how it goes, and then I'll try and read the fourth book later on in the year. But yeah, I really liked the series. I liked the political side of it. I liked the differences between the two worlds and the plot behind it as well. It's really good. One of the other books I'd like to read is Plato. I have never ever read anything by Plato. I can't say I filled with joy reading these sorts of things, but I want to expand my knowledge. So by reading something that's really out of my comfort zone, I think this is going to be quite interesting one to read, and it has come recommended. As I mentioned earlier, I've been reading some of Charles Dickens, and I've actually really been enjoying them. Christmas Carol, it's about 100 pages, not even, and I love the Christmas Carol. I reread it this year, and I think I read it probably last year for Christmas as well, maybe even before that. And then the other book I've been reading is Hard Times. Absolutely loving that book. I haven't completed it yet, but that's another one I'm going to read and finish off hopefully in the next couple of days. I haven't got many pages left. But this one, I have heard nothing but fantastic. This is the folio edition called The Pickwick Papers, and I am really looking forward to reading this one. My husband absolutely loves this, so I would like to read it and get a Charles Dickens humour and see what it's all about. But I do like Charles Dickens. I think his writing is brilliant and his subject matter is intriguing. So as you can see, I've already started reading this, The Poet X. Really enjoying this book. I've already started it. Elizabeth Acevedo, it's the first time I've read any of her work. It's written in verse, which I thought I wouldn't like, but I've actually been enjoying it. And the way it's been written is just genius. So I'm not going to review it, but I am wanting to finish this hopefully before 2020, but it's probably not going to be till 2021 when I actually finish it. So this is another one of my goals, to get this read. I've had this on my bookshelf since I think it's around March this year. I actually had it for a birthday present, and it's Pride and Prejudice. And I asked for this one. I wanted this particular cover. Yeah, so I'm trying to get into more of her work. I do like her writing. It's her story plots and lines that drive me crazy. So I haven't had much success with Emma. I did manage to read, it's called Northanger Abbey. That's the one I actually completed. Pride and Prejudice I may have tried to start and never got back to. That's probably years ago, so I think I'm going to give this a retry. I think my classics, I'm feeling less intimidated by classics altogether. So yeah, my goals are to read this one, to get into Charles Dickens, to get into Plato and see what that's all about, and to authors that I wouldn't otherwise read, and genres. I don't want just to be reading for the sake of reading. I want to really enjoy my reading. YA books, I've had a few successes with YA books. The Hate You Give was a really good one. Dumpling was another one I enjoyed. But when it comes to fantasy YA, really, really struggled with that. So we'll see where we are with that one. Maybe I'll get to that in 2021 again. I don't know. Just like I said, I'm really struggling it, and I don't want to be reading stuff that I don't get any fulfillment out of it. Okay, that's it for now. As you can see, it's gotten dark outside. Probably can't see much of the snow anymore, but hopefully we've got a bit of it. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you soon.